What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to take a look at Muhammad Ali and Charles Sonny Liston. Two iconic figures. Two of the greatest heavyweight champions of all times. Both had master jabs. But what's amazing is that you couldn't find two more contrasting styles and personalities than Muhammad Ali and Charles Sonny Liston. You see, Muhammad Ali just wanted to be named the greatest of all times. And Charles Sonny Liston was a headbanger for the mob. Now, if you heard your door knock at 3 o'clock in the morning and you knew you owed the mob some money, chances are it would be Sonny Liston. I want to examine their fights that took place February 25th, 1964 and May 25th, 1965. But I have to go through their careers. And I want to examine it with you right here on the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. What a fight. What a night. Muhammad Ali was named Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. He was born January 17, 1942 in Louisville, Kentucky. He died June 3, 2016. He was 74 years of age at the time of his death. Now, they have recorded that he was laid to rest in Scottsdale, Arizona. He stood 6 foot 3 inches and he had a 78-inch reach. He was an orthodox, conventional fighter. He had a master jab and he would move from side to side. Great head movement. But one problem. He would move around with his hands down. But it worked for Muhammad Ali. Because he would have total bouts of 61 fights. 56 wins, 37 knockouts, 5 losses. And he'd be stopped just one time in his career. And that would be against the great Eastern assassin, Larry Holmes. Muhammad Ali was a social activist who inspired young men to be proud of themselves. And he would show them examples. Never settle for less and always come in first place. He'd be credited for becoming the first heavyweight champion to win a prestigious crown 3 times. He won the crown at the age of 22. 1964, just 4 years after becoming the gold medal winner in the Olympic Games, 1960 in Rome. He was a light heavyweight champion, and by the end of his amateur career, he would be credited for having a record of 99-8. He had an outstanding amateur career, did Muhammad Ali. He was a 6-time Kentucky State Golden Glove champion. Now, the losses he would have on his record: 1955, he would lose to James Davis, John Hampton. He'd be stopped by Terry Hodges on a cut, Donald Hall, and Jimmy Ellis. 1958, he would participate in the Chicago Golden Gloves in the light heavyweight division, and he'd be stopped by Kent Green in the second round. 1959, U.S. Pan American Games. In the finalists, he would lose to Amos Johnson in the third round. 1960, National AAU Light Heavyweight Championship. He would lose to Percy Price in 3 rounds. In 1955, he would defeat John Hampton. 1957, Donald Hall. 1958, Chicago Golden Gloves. Light heavyweight quarterfinalists. He would defeat Alex Watts in 3 rounds and Fast Turley in 3 rounds. 1959, Chicago Golden Gloves tournament in the championship rounds. He would knock out Junior Hall in 2 rounds. Willie McMillan, he would go the distance of 3 rounds. Cliff Murphy, he would defeat him in 3 rounds. And Jeff Davis, he would defeat him in 3 rounds. In Olympic light heavyweight gold medal rounds, he would win in 2 rounds in the first round. 3 rounds in the third round. He would be 5-0. Muhammad Ali would win the gold medal in the 1960 Rome Games. His career would soon blossom. After turning pro, he would fight great fighters such as Kenny Norton 3 times, Bob Foster. Bob Foster was a light heavyweight champion by knocking out Dick Tiger. He would face Charles Sonny Liston on 2 separate occasions. He would knock him out in 7 rounds in Miami and 1 round in Lewiston, Maine. He would face Smoking Joe Frazier 3 separate occasions. He would face Ernie Shavers, Leon Spinks twice, and Larry Holmes, the Eastern Assassin, Trevor Berbick, George Foreman, Zaire, Africa, Jimmy Ellis, and Ernie Terrell, just to name a few. And those are Hall of Fame champions. But he'd also face Zora Foley, George Chuvalo, Henry Cooper, Brian London, Cleveland Williams, Charlie Powell from the San Francisco 49ers, Billy Daniels, Alonzo Johnson, Alex Mitliff of Canada, Lamar Clark, Jim Robinson, Buster Mathis, Blue Lewis, Oscar Bonavena, Jerry Quarry, just to name a few. Muhammad Ali would go down as one of the greatest fighters of all times. Now, Muhammad Ali would face several fighters that would be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. He would have a record of 11-3-0 with 8 knockouts against International Boxing Hall of Fame inductees, such as the Old Mongoose, Archie Moore, who he would destroy in 4 rounds. Archie Moore would become light heavyweight champion in 1952 against Joey Maxim. He would face Floyd Patterson 2 separate occasions, and he would pecker Floyd Patterson with the jab so badly that Floyd Patterson's back would go out on him. He would disrupt his S1 as well as his S2, C1 and C2. Floyd Patterson would never be the same after his matches with Muhammad Ali. Now Ali would face Smoking Joe Frazier 3 separate occasions, and he would lose 1 and win 2. Joe Frazier, one of the greatest heavyweight champions of all times, would lose his heavyweight championship strap in Jamaica with Big George Foreman, and he'd be knocked out in the 2nd round. And he would have a rematch with George Foreman in 1976, and he would be stopped once again. Joe Frazier would wind up with a record of 4 losses, 2 to Muhammad Ali and 2 to George Foreman. Bob Foster, one of the greatest light heavyweight champions of all times, and he would knock out Dick Tiger to win that strap, but he would lose and be no match for the great Muhammad Ali. Big George Foreman would be stopping 8 rounds in Zaire, Africa. George Foreman was knocking out all opponents, but he couldn't touch Muhammad Ali. Ali designed a style called the rope-a-dope, where George Foreman was the dope, and he'd be knocked out in 8 rounds. Muhammad Ali would face Kenny Norton 3 separate occasions. Ali would suffer a broken jaw early in one of the fights. But in 1976, most observers thought that Muhammad Ali lost in Yankee Stadium to Kenny Norton. He would face Larry Holmes. And Larry Holmes would be the only retired fighter who would retire Muhammad Ali, if that makes any sense. Because Larry Holmes had retired Muhammad Ali, but he would have one more fight against Trevor Berbick, the Yama Bahama, and then he would retire for good. Now Ali would have a professional record of 22-3 with 14 knockouts in world title fights, 14-5 with 9 knockouts against world champions. And like I said, he defeated Archie Moore, Sonny Liston twice, Floyd Patterson twice, Ernie Terrell, Jimmy Ellis fought him twice, Bob Foster knocked him out, Kenny Norton 3 times, Smoking Joe Frazier 3 times, Big George Foreman, and Leon Spinks twice. But I gotta tell you, Cleveland Williams, 1966, at the Houston Astrodome, was perhaps one of the greatest performances that you would ever witness. Because Muhammad Ali could do anything he wanted to do. He was at his peak. And unfortunately for him, he would have his belt stripped because he refused to be inducted into the war. Now, Muhammad Ali was 11-0 with 5 knockouts in rematches. Only 3 heavyweights would come from Louisville, Kentucky: Marvin Hart, Jimmy Ellis, Greg Page, as well as Muhammad Ali. February 25th, 1964, Muhammad Ali defeats the Ugly Bear, Sonny Liston, in 7 rounds. Because Sonny Liston would refuse to come out of his corner, claiming that he had a shoulder injury. But what was almost significant as that in that fight was Angelo Dundee had to remove the glove of Muhammad Ali because Ali claimed he couldn't see. You see, Joe Polino had put Moncel Solution on a cut of Sonny Liston. Now, one of the 2 things could have happened. Muhammad Ali could have jabbed Sonny Liston and then touched his forehead as a bad habit, and a Moncel Solution could have rubbed in his eye, or Joe Polino could have rubbed Moncel Solution in the glove of Sonny Liston. But either way, Muhammad Ali would be sent out by Angelo Dundee, and the only instructions would be run. And that what he would do. Through the majority of that first round, that he came out on destruction. And he would dance, he would glide, he would move, eventually jab. He'd be back to his old self. And Charles Sonny Liston would be stopped in 7 rounds in Miami. September 14th, 1964. 65. Ali was stripped of the World Boxing Association for signing to fight Sonny Liston in a rematch. The contract of their fight included a return clause, which the WBA did not support. Sonny Liston signed a return bout, and it created a tournament. In that tournament had participants of Ernie Terrell, Jimmy Ellis, Jerry Quarry, Eddie Machin. Joe Frazier did not participate in that tournament. Instead, he decided to face an old nemesis, Buster Mathis. Buster Mathis is the reason why Joe Frazier would get an opportunity to participate in the Olympics in 1964. Because Buster Mathis was injured and Joe Frazier was an alternate, and he would earn himself a gold medal in the 1964 Olympic Games. But Buster Mathis would partake with Joe Frazier outside the tournament. Joe Frazier would eventually become the heavyweight champion of the world. So when Muhammad Ali was stripped, he would eventually get a license in Atlanta. And the first opponent he would face would be Jerry Quarry. Then he would face Oscar Bonavena. And eventually the fight would be set up March 8th, 1971 against Smoking Joe Frazier. And it was such a barn burner that it was reported that 4 men died as a result of that fight. 2 men died in Madison Square Garden suffering a heart attack. 1 man was found dead in front of his television after recorded viewing the paid television in Maine, Italy. Another man fell back in his chair and hit his head because he couldn't believe the fight that he was watching. Now perhaps this is myth or facts, but it goes to show you the magnitude of that fight that took place the night of March 8, 1971. Charles Sonny Liston was born between 1927 and 1933. St. Louis, Johnson Township. Now he was managed by Eddie Polino, Dick Sadler. His trainer was Dick Sadler and Willie Ruddish, outstanding Philadelphia trainer. His cut man was Joe Polino and Milt Bailey. And he was 10-1 as an amateur. 1953, St. Louis Golden Gloves. He would win 1 and have 1 KO. Chicago Golden Gloves. Win 3 and 2 knockouts, including a victory over Los Angeles Ed Sanders in the Inter City Golden Glove Tournament Ed Sanders would defeat Ingemar Johansson in a disqualification. Ingemar Johansson was from Sweden, and he would have his back and forth wars with Floyd Patterson. Ed Sanders would have a professional career of 6 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw, including victories over Willie James and Burt Whitehouse. Charles Sonny Liston was some fighter. He had his wars with Eddie Machen as well. Floyd Patterson. Unbelievable with Sonny Liston. He fought Nino Valdez, knocked him out in 3 rounds. Zora Foley knocked him out in 3 rounds. He had a TKO over Cleveland Williams. 3rd round, and then again in the 2nd round. So Charles Sonny Liston was some fighter. And I just wanted to explore their careers with you, right here on the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Thanks for hanging in there with me. This is Scrapbook Boxing, stating all great fights and all great fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. Salute to these legendary fighters, Muhammad Ali and Charles Sonny Liston. Thanks for listening.